Imagine a situation where you have two options, two identical pencils. One is 10 cents, the other one is $50, and yet many Americans choose the $50 pencil over and over again. It doesn't make sense. That's what's happening with this tap water versus bottled water situation in this country. Actually in the world. If you look at this chart, it shows that the total consumption of bottled water is increasing over the years. As a note, 1 cubic meter is 264 gallons. This measurement is in thousands of cubic meters. That is the equivalent of around 50 billion gallons per year. And it's increasing pretty much across the world. If you look at this next chart, the United States is clearly in the lead in terms of consumption. The rate is slowing a little bit, and the recession of 2008 did hurt the bottled water economy a little bit. However, it's still an alarming amount of bottled water consumed in this country. And if you compare the 10 top countries, their amount consumed is far greater than all of the other countries combined. We see a lot of growth currently in China and in Mexico. Mexico is the second largest consumer in the world. If we look now at the water quality reports for Nestle, and I used Colony, I passed those around. Now the difference here is that Nestle will test for more things, but it's regulated by a different agency. So the EPA regulates tap water because it's more natural, it comes from the ground and it's regulated by different environmental factors, whereas the FDA regulates the testing of bottled water. So many more things are tested for in bottled water. This is just a small snapshot of the quality report that you can find on their website. And you see they test for things, different levels. I'm not going to get too crazily into it because it is kind of dry, but with that being said, just keep in mind that they're tested by different agencies. If we look at the water quality report of Colony, we see that again, things are tested at different times depending on the regulation. Some things, every couple of years, some things every day. If you go back to the Nestle one, these are tested once a year. Every item is tested once a year, so there's less testing. Another interesting note about this is that the testing happens for the bottled water industry prior to the water being put into the bottle. So if there's any contaminants in the bottle, or if the plastic leaches into the bottled water, that's not going to show up in these tests. Whereas in the municipal water associations, it's tested just prior to going into the pipes, so you're getting more accurate test of what you're actually consuming. Different studies that come out have shown like plastic leaches into the bottled water. It's a fact, but we're still unsure as to the actual health effects of that. Now if we get into price, this is probably the most drastic difference between tap water and bottled water. I'm looking here at the price per bottle. I've set the individual bottle price at $1, and a case of bottles, I use 24 bottles in a case at $5 for the case. I broke this down based on price per gallon. You see it's literally like 1/4 cent for a gallon of water from the tap, and the individual bottle price is $7.58 per gallon. If you transfer this down into cost per year, assuming, again, you're drinking the 8 glasses of water you're supposed to drink per day, it may not be realistic, but that's assuming the only thing you drink is water. You see a huge price difference in cost per year based on how you choose to consume your water. As far as the environmental impact goes, anybody have a guess as to what this 1,500 bottles represents?
Personal consumption per year?
No. Anybody else? This is the amount of bottles that is thrown out every second in the United States. So if you can imagine a pile of 1,500 water bottles chilling over there in the corner, that's a very large amount. It equates to around 50 billion bottles a year, and only 20% of these are ever recycled. So the remainder go to landfills and take 700 plus years to decay. It's a huge issue and probably one of the most wasteful aspects of the bottled water industry. If you still choose, or if you would still rather drink bottled water, but you realize tap is a better option, there are options available. Obviously, like Brita is probably the most popular option. However, those are honestly just charcoal filters, which is the same thing that municipal water associations do. So I don't really see a tremendous advantage there. Water softeners will reduce the hardness of your water, but my personal favorite is the reverse osmosis system if you would like to drink perfect, clean tap water. What this will do is it will remove literally everything from your water. People don't realize that water has a taste until you actually try water that doesn't have a taste. It's kind of amazing. And this will clean the tap water. Again, it's already perfectly clean, but this will remove any flavoring that might have been added, any chlorine that was used to kill bacteria. And just in conclusion quickly, it's a rapidly growing industry. I don't really understand why it's growing so rapidly, but Americans seem to love their bottled water. Cost versus value, I think clearly the value is with the tap water, and quality, your qualities are almost identical, possibly a little worse with your tap water. With that, if anyone has any questions, I encourage you to ask.
Yeah. Is it true that they purposely put like fluoride in tap water just to like help your teeth or whatever?
Sure, that used to happen. It doesn't anymore. Once they realized that there's actually negative health effects of fluoride, they stopped doing that. However, there are still residual amounts of fluoride like in the environment that do leach into the water. I don't know how much you know about fluoride, but when they started putting it into tap water, it was actually a byproduct of aluminum production. And there was some study in the UK that said, you know, oh, fluoride's really good for your teeth. So the US was like, yeah, no, we'll just put this all in the water. So yeah, that's like, they just used a byproduct like that, but they no longer do that.
Gotcha. What else?
Sure.
Some stuff out there now with the companies. I mean, I'm thinking of Poland Springs, which obviously one of the larger.
Mm-hmm.
That they're environmentally sensitive because they've made the bottle thinner. Your thought?
Comments on that? I mean, we're still wasting a tremendous amount of bottles, and I know like some of you have probably seen that I usually have a water bottle with me in class. I typically refill the bottles, so I actually don't like the whole environmentally friendly thing because it makes it more difficult to reuse them and they don't last as long. But I mean, I guess they're making efforts, although it's kind of benefits them too because they're using less plastic and they have less cost for manufacturing.
I'll just editorialize for a second, just to use in my advertising class. The fact that, can you imagine the first time somebody sat around a table while they were talking about ideas and saying, you know, I think we can bottle this water and sell it, and everybody probably said, what a crazy idea.
Yeah, right.
I'll look at it where it is, you know.
It's a huge segment of the beverage industry now. It's amazing.
Well, it got particularly big when Coke and Pepsi, Dasani, and what is it, Aquafina, I think is Pepsi, you know, came into the market. They took a while to come in. They kind of gave a pretty good opportunity for the share.
Yeah.